Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Vidalia Vigil with the public information on the Oak Ridge fire. Today is June 25th at 2:30 media briefing. Today we have Scott Campbell going to start us off with an operational briefing, our incident commander, followed by Pueblo County Sheriff David Lucero, and closing us off will be Beulah Fire Protection District PIO Jill Lacka. Today, the fire has increased to 495 acres, and all evacuations remain the same, mandatory evacuations and pre-evacs. Thank you. Also asking to hold all questions till the end, and then we can follow through. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Scott Campbell. Glad you're all here. So today's operation, we started out with briefing. We had crews arrive overnight. We got checked in. So we started out the day with 4 hand crews, 4 hotshot crews, and 1 Type 2 IA. Most of the crews went up into the Middle Creek drainage area to look at the homes and improvements up in there to start doing the mitigation, fire resisting them as much as they can. Started at the end of the road on the west side and then working east down the creek. Another one of the crews, they hiked up off the North Creek Road through our access from yesterday to get up on the very north boundary of it, up by the Oak Creek Trail. So they got up there, they found that their fire behavior had moderated, so they were able to go work right on the edge of the fire. They worked on throwing in the heat sources hot, getting it pushed inside the fire so it's not a threat to come outside of that colder edge. Worked on that for about a couple hours, and fire behavior continued to moderate. On the east side, they felt comfortable. They started down what we'll call the right flank or the east flank of this fire, going direct around the corner, doing the work that they could do, and been up in there, been able to be engaged on the fire edge most of the afternoon in both the Alpha and Kilo division. Back down into the drainage through the morning, we increased another couple of 3 hotshot crews also in that drainage area in the Middle Creek. So we were able to reinforce the folks doing the work there, get a lot more work done the same amount of time with that extra 3 crews. And they got to below where the folks had come down from Alpha, and thought again that moderated with these east winds that are pushing up on it, relaxing that fire behavior on this side, that they were going to be able to go direct on that side. So they've actually started up a little bit here and there direct. They make a first pass, doing some hot spotting, taking the worst of what they can, throwing it inside, kicking it inside, dragging it off the edge. They'll come back and make some improvements at some point, but that's the first step of securing that edge. The Union side, or the west side of the fire, has shown the growth today, and it's lined up slope up the canyon. When you see the smoke lifting as much as you do, like we're watching right now, something has to take the place of all that smoke. And what that is air coming up from the lower side. So it's feeding air up into it, and it's got a draw. It's just like a chimney. And so it's sucking up air into the bottom of it, which is also fueling the westward progression of the fire. It's up there near about Scraggy Peak. It's probably going to come around the south side and hook to the north a little bit on the west side of Scraggy Peak yet today. But we're getting on the downside of our alignments of the fuel, weather, and topography for the day, and probably seen some of the most intense fire behavior we'll see this day. Could go on another hour or so. Also, as you notice, and when you can't hear me, the heavy yellow tankers are flying, the heavy air tankers are flying, and the VLATs, the very large air tankers, are flying. So they're continuing to place retardant where it's going to do good, and to attempt to get that retardant down to protect those values that we've identified, which is this community. And I just want to say a little bit about retardant. It's called retardant, not suppressant. It retards fire spread. It really doesn't put the fire out. It just makes the fuels less receptive to fire coming through them. So they use water to get it out of the tanks, otherwise they'd have no control over where it is. But the actual retardant part of it is dust. It's powder. So that's what you see coming out, and that's what they're doing. We'll continue that till shifts end and be back at it tomorrow. continue to get resources. I think we just had 2 dozers pull in, so another part of our strategy with some dozer line here and there or get put in place and start working on the actual control lines to be sure that this community remains untouched by the fire if at all possible.
Good afternoon. I'm Pueblo County Sheriff David Lucero. As we evaluate the current weather conditions, which are very similar to yesterday, we expected to see fire growth and potentially significant growth. So we ask the Beulah community to stay informed and to be prepared. As of 1:32 p.m., the fire has grown, as Scott said, from the previously reported 275 acres to 495 acres. We will update the public as timely as possible using the Pueblo County Sheriff's Office Facebook page, the Beulah Fire Protection District page, the Oak Ridge Fire Facebook page, which has recently been established, so that's going to have timely information as well, and of course our local news television stations. The Pueblo County Sheriff's Office Emergency Operations Center was activated yesterday, where we continue to coordinate with our local, state, and our federal partners on resources, information, and operations pertaining to this fire. This is a federal fire, and Pueblo County will continue to support suppression and mitigation efforts to contain this as timely as possible. Safety and security is our top priority. We want the public to know that if you were asked to evacuate, please do so, and without delay. We want to keep everyone safe, including our citizens, our law enforcement, and our firefighters. So do not wait if you're asked to leave your homes. If you are asked to evacuate, you should receive a reverse 911 call. In addition, we will have law enforcement officers going door to door to inform residents. However, don't rely solely on a knock on the door. If you are placed on a pre-evacuation notice, again, you should receive a reverse 911 call. If you are placed on pre-evacuation status, prepare yourself to evacuate. Gather important information, belongings, medication, pets, documents, etc., and be ready should you be asked to evacuate. Know that if you have to evacuate, you will not be allowed back in. So make sure that you have what you need for you, your family members, your pets, for at least 72 hours. We also ask the people who do not live in the Beulah community to avoid coming to this area. We want to make sure that the roads are open for supporting firefighting efforts and to ensure those residents who may have to evacuate are able to quickly do so and smoothly. As a Pueblo County Sheriff and Fire Warden for the county, I have delegated some authority to the United States Forest Service to allow them to do some work on county land related to the fire. Things such as cutting, bulldozer lines, and mitigation around properties. We ask for your patience and understanding from the public as we continue to work with our federal, state, and local partners to get containment on this fire.
Good afternoon. I'm Jill Lacka, Public Information Officer for the Beulah Fire Department. Again, reiterating what Sheriff Lucero talked about as far as evacuations. If you're under the mandatory evacuation, please leave quickly and prepare if you're not. Also, we're getting a lot of calls. What can we do to help? Where can we donate things? Right now, we are not in need of donations. We have plenty of water, food, all that kind of stuff for the firefighters. If community members are wanting to help, the best thing you can do is prepare your home for us to keep it safe. So mitigate around the home, rake the pine needles, the pine cones, cut branches that are close to the house. Do what you can to help us so that if we need to get in and defend your home, we can do that. That's the best way that you can help us right now.
Thank you. We can now open it up for questions from the media.
I got a question, and then before anybody answers, can you guys spell out your names for us just so we have that right on camera, please? I got a shot of crews up on the ridge line here earlier today. Are those the crews on the east side that are digging line?
Hard to say
Step up to the mic.
Hard to say exactly which crews you were seeing. They might have been hiking in, gaining access. If you saw them here, that's not the work area. It's not direct on the edge. So it's probably the best way they found to get to where they wanted to work.
Can you spell out your name for us, please?
Scott Campbell, SCOTTCAMPBELL.
Thank you.
And we were also told that there was a water source kind of nearby that you guys were worried about potentially getting contaminated for water flow into the city. Is that any sort of threat or risk right now?
Yeah, that's not exactly correct. So there's leafy spurge that's naturally up here in a lot of the streams. It's a very invasive product, and we don't want to spread it into other stream beds that it might be. So one of the places we could get water from early on had that spurge in it. So we ordered a different helicopter and been using Lake Isabel. But you'll notice now they've secured 2 more dip sites off to the east and over here that don't have that in, so we don't have to worry about causing more harm than the fire's doing long term. And they have plenty of water. They're also dipping behind me over here out of the porta tank. So.
I believe I drove past that dip site right here. Can you talk to us about how much water is getting picked up and, that process there?
So that big Type 1 sky crane right there does about 24 to 2,600 gallons a load, depending on its power. The funny sounding helicopter that's flying over here with the oblong blades, it's going about 600 gallons a bucket. The small helicopter, the A-Star that's flying, is done about 175. We have another medium helicopter, but I don't know what size bucket they're flying.
I do have one more.
Sure.
Can we talk about, I know you mentioned before you do have water supplies for your firefighters, but just being able to, fight fires in these conditions, very hot. We've been feeling that wind over the course of the day, how this weather also plays a toll too.
So sure, obviously our firefighters are out there in this heat, but they've all got water with them on their trucks. They take, supplies up for the whole day. This morning we had plenty of breakfast and lunch supplies that they all took with them when they went. So they're being well taken care of. Yep.
Are you going through? Oh, okay. Just want to confirm, did you say 1:42 p.m. the fire has grown to 495 acres?
I believe it was 132.
132. Okay, sorry. And how much of that fire is contaminated? Or
Contained?
How much of that fire is
Yeah,
contained?
the fire remains at 0% contained at this time. That's going to conclude our briefing. A reminder that the official fire information is coming from the Oak Ridge Fire Facebook page, and you can find information on evacuations on puebloemergency.info. Thank you.